and I am so proud to call her a friend. I'm lucky to have met her this year and to have watched her epic growth. And when she says she's doing something, her superpower is not only commitment, she does what she says. I value that so much in her, but she also is just a master at making people feel seen and heard. Even through her social media platform, she connects in this women like us, people like us kind of manner that makes you want to follow her. And just to give some color, if you're not following her on Instagram at Katie Martin Studio, you're going to want to. My kids are obsessed with her content. My kids are like, Mom, what will she do next? It's fascinating. I can't stop watching. She's just riveting. But she's going to talk a little bit about her systems. She's going to talk about how to create content and how to rock and roll with this business. Katie, thank you so much for joining.
Oh my gosh, that is an incredible introduction. I feel like I want to go hide under the table a little bit. But you, honestly, I was on the phone with Jessica earlier, right before this call, and I'm like, I don't know about you, but is anybody like, when Jessica starts talking, you just are like, oh God, I hang on every word she says, and it's everything that's just pouring out is just liquid gold. It's just insane how I don't know how anyone could ever say the word no to her or not just want to be in her presence all the time. So Jessica, when you asked me to do this, I was like, oh, are you sure? I'm kind of a new kid here. And so I don't know many of you, but I know some of you. And I have to say, from the very, very beginning last October, I just was welcomed to this team with open arms. I'm seeing some people here that I met right out the gate. Holly Kirsch has been incredible to me. And Denise, I saw Denise here somewhere. We've got Ashley. You guys have all just made me feel so welcome. Brandy Brokaw, I was able to train for her team. So I have met some of you guys, and of course, Jessica, both of you guys are you and Holly are the best, most incredible examples. Where's Erica? Erica's here too, like just has poured nothing but resources and love and time into someone that is literally brand new to this business. And so if you're brand new here and you have, this is like a buffet of you can feast off of these incredible people who are just ready and willing to pour into you. Joel Kirsch sends me all these amazing messages of encouragement all the time. I love that guy. I love that guy. So anyway, I just have from the very, very beginning felt so at home here, so welcomed here. And I do have some direct sales experience, so that's important for you guys to know. I'm not a lifer. I only was in one other company before this, and so I learned some things, and some of those, some of things are very applicable across different platforms and different companies. But what I have found here is just such an extraordinary team, and what Isagenix has to offer people is so. It's just so unique and special. And so every day my eyes were just opened more and more and more and more. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that has been a huge part of my success here from the very beginning, I mean, I'm kissing like 6 months and was this PVC 1-2-3 system. And so I've said it from the beginning that I feel like I was adopted into the royal family of Isagenix. This Team Win team is the royal family of Isagenix. And so the tools that we have available to us, if you are not implementing and using PVC and now the 1-2-3 piece of that, I literally was on that call with Kathy and was listening to Emily Vavra and Erica and Jessica and everybody talk about that, and literally launched it to the company. I wanted to cry, because in other companies, guys, it's not like that. You don't have the company saying, we're going to build these systems and resources for you guys to use. And so you are doing yourselves a huge disservice to not be implementing that into your business. So that's my intro. I'm Katie. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am, where I came from, what I was about, how I started my social media channel. If you guys, it would be helpful. So when I start to talk about what some of the things that are included on my social media, if you do want to pull out your phone and go to Instagram and look at Katie Martin Studio there, it'll start to make sense, the things that I'm going to talk to you about, why your bio is important, why, your feed, it may or may not look like super posh and consistent and whatever, and that does not matter. Some people think that they have to have this like aesthetic and it has to look like an Easter egg and every photo has to have a filter on it. Like, no, you guys you're spending your time doing the wrong thing. So I'm going to try to peel away a lot of the like superficial stuff and really get to the stuff that matters, which is going to create engagement for your page. It's going to make your community feel like a community. Like social media, guys, it's like, let's hang the disco ball and have a party. That's what it is. It's a place to be social. It's not a place for you to be a talking head and have a one-way conversation with just anybody that's out there. You have to create real connections with people. And that's really, I think, the key to it all. So we'll get there. But in any case, my name is Katie. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. Holler to the mom. I have 3 children, 14, 11, 8, are starting to pop and stop. My good. Can you guys get, you have me? You have me? No?
Okay, keep talking. I think
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we cool? Okay.
It's back.
It
It's
said
back.
your connection is unstable and I just had a heart attack. It's okay.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
I'm back. Okay. So I have 3 children. I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and I was a portrait photographer for 12 years. So, and I feel like a lot of times, you know, all of these roles that we've had in our lives, they've all kind of accumulated to this pile of skills that we've all had. You know, I think if any of us would look back at our track record, and it's like, I feel like direct sales is where I belong. It's where I've always meant to be. I was in a band for 8 years and I was a singer and I was like on stage every night. And honestly, that skill helps me hit the live button and talk to my people, right? That sharpened that tool in my drawer. I think that obviously being a photographer in my lifetime, I understand how to take a photo, right? So that's really helpful for and so if there's a piece of your tools that are not sharp, go Google it, you guys. Like seriously, you can learn anything on YouTube. You can be a rocket scientist on YouTube these days. So if that is stopping you, you don't let those things stop you. Go and find somebody that knows more than you. I always love being the dumbest person in the room, and I can guarantee I'm that girl tonight. So, I want to really create impact in women. And so, what I realized very quickly was that in order for me to put food on the table as a single mom, I could only serve I was maxing out my time serving 10 or 15 people a month, right? And I could give them the moon and stars and change how they felt about themselves and, you know, create a beautiful photo shoot experience with them. But at the end of the day, I was trading time for money. And so what I needed to do was I turned to social media because it allowed me to cast a bigger net, right? This is impact-driven income that we're doing, guys. If you don't realize that, that's what we're doing, impact-driven income. There is no better way to put your head on the pillow at night than to know that in order for you to go make $1 to feed your family, you have to go and improve somebody's life. You should never feel weird or awkward about doing what you do, because it's so genuine and you literally are helping somebody improve their life. What could be weird about that? What could be spammy or salesy or yucky about that? The only one that's making it weird is you. So get out of your own way and realize that what you're doing is a service to others. You're serving other people. And that if you kept this great thing to yourself, you would be a selfish person to keep it hidden under the pillow. Don't do it. Don't hide your light under a basket. And believe me, there is plenty of times, and everyone says this, that direct sales is like a personal development plan with a compensation plan attached. It's like, this is what we're here to do. We're here to break out of our comfort zone. And so if being on social media is outside of your comfort zone, then you lean into that, challenge yourself, because what's the best that could happen? One of my mentors always said that to me. It's never what's the worst that could happen. It's what's the best that could happen, right? And here's the other thing about social media, and this is just a lesson you have to learn early on, is that if no one sees your post, or I'm sorry, if no one engages on your post, you like spend an hour putting something together, you put it out into the world and it's crickets, and you're like, man, I spent so much time on that. It was the best piece of content that I've made in the longest time. And then you are like, oh, I stink at this. I should just take my toys and go home. I'm going to cancel my subscriptions. I'm going to just leave all this behind. I knew I wasn't cut out for this. And, you know, all the stinking thinking starts to creep in. The imposter syndrome, all the things start to creep in. Honey, nobody saw it. No one saw it. Just saying. You know, these algorithm things that nobody knows what they are, they're just like mythical creatures like unicorns that just tromp around in the background and like decide which post gets seen by your people. It's like 2% of your followers see your stuff on a given day. And I know that you may seem like it sounds like a broken record, that you do these things day after day after day, but that's the only way for everybody to see it, right? People aren't seeing your stuff because you posted it one time. There's a great book called Mastery by Robert Greene. If you want to become a master at anything, you have to master the basics. And that means doing the basic stuff. That's why systems work. That's why PVC 1, 2, 3 works. Because it's a system and it's repetition. You don't get big 6-pack abs in the gym after doing it one time. It takes repetition. Okay. So even with social media, I am hitting my marks every week, over and over and over and over. And we're going to get into what those marks look like. Okay, I have to look at my notes. Hang tight. So when I started, I was a photographer, and my social media, my Instagram, I think I built my social media from like 0 followers to about 3,500 in 10 years. 3,500 in 10 years. This was before Reels. This was before a lot of things. And you know what I was doing? I was just posting pictures of other people's faces that I was taking their picture, and I was tagging them in it, and then they would follow me because they felt good about the fact that they were getting featured. And so for me to transition away from showing only other people's faces to start showing my faces, do you know the level of like anxiety that I had doing that? She is so vain. All we are going to see is her face. She must be so into herself. It's always her all the time. And then you start to like go down that really bad assumption, you know, she must be so into herself. Why are we seeing pictures of her face all the time? Right? I had a real issue. This is about them. I have to pause again because it said it was unstable. One more time. Am I cool? Okay. If going into social media for the very first time and terrible thoughts are going through your, you have to just come out of the way and say, I know my heart. I know that I'm here to deliver a message, and that message is for someone's good. Remember what I said. I remember whenever I first started doing lives, and I was terrified. I put a piece of Scotch tape or, you know, along my computer screen, and it said those words that I said to you a moment ago. In order for you to go make $1 to feed your family, you have to go and improve someone's life. Get out of your own way. It was written right there. I would read it every single time right before I hit the live button so that I could get, you know, the guts to hit it. Okay. So this is going to challenge you. So impact-driven income, it's going to force you to go outside your comfort zone. You need to coach yourself up. Okay. You've got to get real with yourself and your core beliefs, because if you're not clear on who you are and what you believe in, then the people on the other side of the phone will not believe anything that comes out of your mouth. So who are you and what do you stand for? This is super important. This is like the foundation. You build your house on not a good foundation, it's going to fall. People will see right through you. Okay, so we're all real busy people, right? So you have to figure out how are you going to connect with these people? Because you know what? The collagen bottle, I have one here. A lot of people have this. Everyone on here has this. This is ordinary. You are extraordinary. Like Dr. Seuss said, there's no one youer than you, right? So how do you you are in the business of creating an introduction to this. You're not selling it. You're just inviting someone, right? You're not a professional salesperson. You're a professional share person. You have to just be a great inviter. Okay. They're there for you, not whatever it is that you have in your hand, right? Anybody on here been in another company and had everybody that followed them at the beginning with their other companies still follow them no matter what they had in their hand? Because they're there for you. You're creating trust with these people. You're creating connection with these people. And that's the only way that they're going to say, well, if she's using that stuff, then I should be too, because I trust her. She hasn't led me astray yet. Okay. So the only way when you're starting to gather and start to build your social media is to gather data. Like if you were a business, obviously we are all in a business, and until you start treating your Isagenix career as a business, you have to understand that gathering data for your business is the only way for you to improve. If you don't know your metrics and your numbers, you can't pivot and do better next time. Okay, so does everybody have their sheet of paper? We're going to plan out 30 days of social media content in about 20 minutes. So everybody have their blank calendar, just a blank. You can even draw squares on a piece of paper if you have to. Okay, so the thing that I really want to drive home to you is we only have so many hours in the day, and social media is just a small piece of what we have to accomplish in a day, right? So we need the ROI on that to be huge. Okay, so we have to figure out how to take that little piece of our day, make the content, put it out there, be consistent about it, make sure it hits that person in a great way so that you can get on with your life, right? All right, so number one, you are not your product or company. Super important. You are not your product or company. You are Erica Rothenberger. You are Holly Kirsch. Okay? So you have to talk about you and why, what is it about you that they're going to like? Okay. Number two, share your why and you will instill loyalty in these people. Okay. The why is really, it's like this weird enigmatic question, but it's really about what are you doing? What is your motivation for being here? Like for me, it's not like, oh, I want to make $1 million or, oh, I want to whatever. I am a creator. I am creating something bigger than me. For me, that's my why. I am an inherent creator. It brings me nothing but joy in my life than to sit down and say, I get to create every day. I get to create something new out of nothing that's mine. It has my stamp on it, right? This is my piece of what I've put out into the world. And I just happen to be improving people's lives at the same time, which gives me such joy to do that. Okay. So what is your why? And again, we all want to improve our families. We all want to have money in the bank. We all want that security, but like what else? What motivated you to even do this in the first place, right? When you said yes to this opportunity, what was the reason? That's it. You have to tap back into that every single time. When you start feeling like you're waking up and instead of this jumping out of bed and hitting the floor and being like, I get to go do this today, if that word starts to change, that verb of I get to or I want to starts to get to I have to, you got to watch your thoughts. If you're starting to say, oh, I have to do a social media post, or oh, I got to go do that one thing, or oh, I got to follow up with 5 people, or oh, I got to do this, that's when the joy starts to fall away and it starts to become an obligation or a chore. And the moment this thing becomes no fun anymore, everybody knows it. Everybody can see through you on social media, right? Your team will know it. Everybody will know it. So you have to keep the joy there. And if you know that you're hitting the feet on the ground every single day and you're like, I get to do this. I can't believe that I get to do this with my time. You have to stay connected to that. And your why is the only way to stay connected to that. Okay. What are you about? What are your brand pillars? Do not be an infomercial. That's number 4. And use this, what I'm about to tell you, as a guide, not gospel. Okay. So what are you about? What are your brand pillars? So here's what we're going to do. You've got your paper. The first thing that we're going to do, and we can fill this out for May because we're only halfway through the month, or, a little bit through the month. your brand pillars. Okay. When I think about who I am and what I'm about, here are some of my brand pillars. And then I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes and you're going to write down yours. Okay. I love doing makeup tutorials. I'm a makeup junkie. Okay. So I do that a lot. I love health and wellness. Obviously, I love taking care of myself. I love taking care of my skin. It's really like, that's why this is such an awesome fit for someone like me. I have a pixie haircut. A lot of the people that buy from me also have pixie haircuts. I'd say 70% of them. Isn't that weird? Not an accident. Social media has drawn those people to me. They all have pixie haircuts. Okay. They came for the haircut. They stayed for the collagen. Got it? So I live at the beach. I live in Florida. So that's another one of my brand pillars. I'm a single mom. I have 2 French bulldogs. I love personal development. I love working out. I have a 200-hour yoga teaching certification. I love to lift weights. I love to travel. And I'm trying very hard to capsule my closet. Okay. So when I think about what my brand pillars are, it's not just this. If you just drone on day after day after day about just this, people will turn the channel on you. So you have to get clear about all the things that you're about, and you have to, that's how you build trust and connection with people. So that when this becomes the topic of the day, they believe you. And they're willing to give you their hard-earned money because they believe you. So we're going to take 2 minutes and I want you to write down what, like 10 of your brand pillars. Okay, ready, go. Okay, everybody pretty good? About like 10 things? Okay, this is really quick and simple. I want you to list out your top 5 and if there's more than 5, go ahead and just dump them on there. This is just a brain dump. Your top 5 products that you like to feature and that you sell the most with Isagenix. What are your top 5? Okay. The last thing I want you to do, and I want you to circle it and underline it and highlight it and write it in all shouty caps, is business opportunity. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in just focusing on the products that we forget what a golden egg we're sitting on. We don't want to forget to mention that little tidbit, right? Okay. Now we've got our brain dump here. Now all you have to do is fill in the squares, guys. It's so simple. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out our blank monthly calendar. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to fill in any anniversaries, holidays, Mother's Day, Memorial Day. Like these are all things that are happening in May. If you're going on vacation, that's going to be content that you're going to want to talk about in real time in the moment. So you might want to earmark a day or 2 for those things. The idea here is that you develop a system that keeps you proactive, not reactive. Because if you wake up and it's 4:30 in the afternoon and you're like, dum-de-dum-de-dum, I don't know what to post today, then anxiety starts to set in. And instead of you saying, I get to, now it's I have to, and now the joy is gone. It's an obligation. And everybody on the other end of that is going to know you slapped some crap together and put it out there, and it's not genuine, and it's just hurried. It's a hurried, reactive way of running a business that is literally could pay you millions of dollars. Like you got to take it serious, right? So by taking it serious, that means you have a proactive, planned ahead, formatted, systematic approach that's also going to give you clues on how you're performing. Remember at the beginning when I said, if you want to pivot and do better next time, you have to have data. And we're going to get to that. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to fill in all of your holidays and special events first. Okay, go ahead, circle them, take 10 seconds and go do that for May. You only have 15 days left, okay? We'll just use this sheet as our example for June because you're going to do this again right at the end of May before June starts. You're going to pull out your next blank calendar and do the same exact thing. Okay, then I want you to fill in what are your top things that you want to talk about throughout the month. Remember how I said you can't do collagen Monday, Wednesday, Friday every single week, right? You can, but you better have some other really bomb content that's going to, splice it up, right? So if you want to talk about Cell-A-Toi or the hair revival or the nutrition or whatever it is, I want you to go ahead and maybe say twice a month or 3 times a month, I'm going to talk collagen, whatever. So I want you to take your top 5 products and I want you to mark those on some days. Okay, ready, go. Business stuff first. Make sure you're hitting your marks. This is really important. The one that was highlighted and stapled to your forehead in a neon sign, the business opportunity one, make sure it's once a week. Don't forget it. That's your reminder. Okay, so put that somewhere in there. It doesn't have to be every Friday. It can just be like on a Wednesday or a Thursday, mix it up, right? Okay, then once we get all of our business stuff, we've hit our marks. Now we're going to fill it in with the things that bring us joy to talk about. If you love gardening or cooking or knitting or traveling or whatever it is, I want you to fill in every other block on there with something that you can it will pour out of you. If you love reading and you're like, man, I love this book. I just want to share this one little excerpt from this book. It just lit me up. If you love podcasts, if you follow certain people, right? And we're going to fill in the rest of our squares with that. Now, when your feet hit the ground in the morning, you're like, oh, talking about collagen today. Oh, I'm talking about knitting today. Oh, I'm talking about that vacation that I'm going on. Oh, I'm doing this extra special post because it's my son's 19th birthday. You have a plan. You have a plan. And that keeps you vibing. It keeps you fresh. It keeps the people that are on the other side of that phone that are consuming the content that you're creating, knowing that you're a professional businesswoman, and I'm going to trust you with my $225 for that 6-pack of collagen, honey. Okay. So now when we have to break down the content itself, right? So let's say we wake up and we've got to talk about collagen, okay? So we're just going to get a little more granular now that we've got our broad strokes down, okay? When you approach that, what do we say? Here are some guides, okay? Teach them something. Entertain them. Facts tell, stories sell. Make sure there's a call to action. If you do not include some kind of call to action, how do people do business with you? What do you want them to do? Is it a click, link in bio? Is it DM me? Is it leave a comment? If you don't tell people what to do, they'll be like, well, that was cute. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Right? Tell them what to do. Okay? Teach them something. Entertain them. Facts tell, stories sell. So when you're teaching them something, be careful. Don't just regurgitate facts. Don't just be like, it'll, your eyebrows will be 2 inches longer, studies show, after 2 months of this. People will be like, that's boring, right? You have to be like, hey, here is a spotlight of one of my best customers, and here is her story. I'm going to educate you about how this product works inside this capsule of telling you this really compelling, meaningful story. If you don't have a story, borrow one from someone you know. Okay? call to action. And honestly, here's the bottom line. People need to be told. I know sounds crazy. It's like we don't want to pressure people, but here's the thing. How many of you guys, I do this every single time I go into a new restaurant. How many of you, when you go to order food, do you ask the waiter, what's the most popular dish here? Or what's your favorite? I do it every time. I don't want to make a mistake. I want to enjoy my meal. I need you to tell me what to order, is what I'm saying. It's the same thing here. Okay? They need to be told. Okay. So when you're creating your content, you're making sure that it's inclusive of these things. Okay. You're doing one of these types of activities within the content that you're putting together. Okay. Now we've done a full month. Okay. We've knocked it out of the park with everything. Okay. What do we do with our piece of paper now? Here's what I want you to do with your piece of paper. I want you to go back to those posts that you made, and you're going to quickly just glance through them and say, okay, you're going to write down 2 numbers at the bottom of every little square. You can even put like a little slash mark and just get yourself ready for these 2 pieces of information. Okay. You're going to go day by day by day, and you're going to write down how many likes / how many comments. How many likes, how many comments. We are a professional business. If you were hiring an agency to run your social media, they would be analyzing the data on what worked and what didn't. You know, back in the day before social media, and like people were, doing Pepsi ads in the Super Bowl, don't you think they look at the numbers versus how much they spent, how much time and resource they spent making those commercials? They're looking at the numbers. You ought to be. Okay. So we look at the data and we say, well, gee whiz, we had some real winners here. What was I talking about that day? Oh, I was talking about knitting. Interesting. My people really liked the knitting. How weird is that? Okay. And then you look at the other days and they're like, oh, Katie, when you post that yoga stuff, there was no engagement on that. So what does this tell you? It says maybe next month I should double down on the stuff that's really working, and I should trim a little fat off the stuff that's not. That's pivoting and doing better next time. That's not, oh my God, I'm a failure, I should quit, right? This is you being analytical. It's taking the emotion out of it and just looking at the data. Okay? You're going to learn a lot about what is hitting people and what your engagement really is. And now here's a tip for you. Next month, when you're doing your strategy and you know that knitting is a real winner, guess what you do the day after? You put a post about knitting up. Somebody tell me, what do you post the day after you post your top content? Yes, Jen. Yes, Yvonne. You post about your product the next day. You plan that. So next month, we're using our data to work smarter. Because guess what? If knitting lights people up and gasses your whole tribe up, now you've got a nice little algorithm boost. And more people will see your post about your product the next day. You have a better chance of having a better engagement with your actual product the next day. This is working smarter. And you're just going to get good at it. You do this for a few months, you gather the data, and it's just going to start to click for you. And what I said at the beginning about mastery, you have to be a master of the basics before you can be a master of anything else. So it might seem like a lather, rinse, repeat, but yeah, baby, that's what it is. Right? Okay. So that social media, there's a lot of people out there with way more followers than me. And there's, oh gosh, here we are unstable again. I was Wi-Fi. Okay. It's okay. I love them. They listen so well. It's okay. All right. So if I'm back, I'm hope I'm good.
Here's what it should tell everybody. You're so relatable. And this happens, you can enroll 32 people in a week and still have unstable Wi-Fi. It's okay. And roll with it. It's all good. I love it. It just it makes you even more, I'm so endeared to you because you do it, whatever the conditions are, you just roll with it. Thank you.
It is. Now. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm full steam. So we're going to collect the data and analyze it, what performed, what didn't. And then here's my last, like, especially within Instagram, because Instagram really is my wheelhouse even more than Facebook. So if you are an Instagram user and you're starting to tap in, or you're just starting to tap into that, as far as like what gets best playtime in terms of like the hierarchy of the type of content that you want to do, Reels are king. Reels are king. So if you're like, should I post a photo? Should I post a video? Should I post a live and then post it to my feed? If you do a reel, it's going to get seen more. So again, when we're just talking, semantics and algorithms and stuff and content aside, it could be like the most boring content ever, but if it's a reel, it's still going to get a little boost. Okay. So reels are probably the number one on Instagram. Then any kind of video content. So any kind of video content will outperform a static post. But if you're going to do a static post, do a carousel. Have you ever been scrolling on Instagram and you see the same person's stuff twice because you didn't flip all the way through the carousel and then it shows you that third picture that you didn't look at? A carousel is just going to give you more chances to get seen. So a carousel is always going to outperform a single post. So that would be the hierarchy. So reels, then video content, then carousels, then static posts. Here's another tip. You can just recycle old good performing content. Go back 3 months ago and be like, man, I had a banger of a post 3 months ago. I'm just going to recycle that. If you are on a day when you're like, my life is falling apart, I'm on an airplane, poor Holly Kirsch just like came in hot and like turned on her video and was like, I'm here, babe. I'm sure she posted something today, but it was probably something that she had to have in her back pocket. If you have nothing and you're like running on fumes on a certain day, just go into your past and recycle something old. You're always going to have new, fresh faces. It's going to be new to somebody. And remember what I said about only 2% of people see your content on any one given day. Ain't nobody going to know that it was 3 months old. Nobody. Okay. Make your customers feel like superstars. If you want to learn how to make babies with the people that you've got, here's a little story for you. I bought this really expensive pair of pants. Like just too expensive, I just thought they would look amazing, whatever. I bought them. And then I was like, well, I better get some airtime out of these. Took a picture of them in them and I tagged the company. And like a month later, I'm scrolling like on a Saturday morning through my email and it's me in their email. They were like featuring people that wore their pants online. It was me and like 3 other people. And I was like, oh, I'm so famous. I felt so good. I was like, this is the best thing ever, right? Guess what I did that day? Anyone, Bueller?
Put it up again.
I bought another pair of expensive pants that I did not need because they made me feel so special, right? So take a customer of yours that you think is an absolute babe and put her in a spotlight and say, look at this person. She is glowing from this stuff, right? She's going to feel incredible. She's going to repost that to her feed or her stories. And now guess what? You're in front of her old audience. That's a great way to make babies with your customers, right? If you want to have if you only have 5 customers and you want to make 25, do that. And do it on social media. So she'll feel like a rock star and buy more expensive pants she doesn't need. Okay. If you're feeling uninspired, success leaves clues, watch your leaders. Watch people that you admire on social media and mimic what they do. Okay. What are they doing that you could do, but you could recreate it and make your own? Okay. And here is really the truth of it. And this is what I was saying about being like the dumbest person in the room. Basically, everything that I told you tonight, with the speed of technology and the speed of social media, could be complete crap tomorrow and completely obsolete. And like, you're like, well, that was a great way to spend an hour of my night watching Katie and be a buffoon on Zoom for an hour. But there are people that know way more than me. And so there's a couple people that I think you should be following. Brock Johnson has made it his mission to like be on the up and up of every little change and thing that is going on Instagram. So I get a lot of my updates on what's changing constantly with social media from him. He's Chalene Johnson's son. She was like the famous, you know, Pio girl with Beachbody and whatever. And now she's like super famous. I would follow her too. Both of them have like Instagram, like boot camp type stuff that you could subscribe to if you wanted to, but I think his feed is perfectly fine and it's free. So the other person that I kind of love following is a girl named, her account is No Shame Sales Game. No Shame Sales Game. I love her. She talks specifically to network marketers about like kind of the pitfalls and foibles and stuff that we kind of, the spammy stuff that we want to stay away from. She's awesome and very relatable. And I really love her account. Okay. So, what did I do this week? I had a banger of a week. It was crazy. I was on vacation, you guys. I have to say I was like behind. The sale started on the 9th. I got home from vacation on the 9th. I needed the 10th to get my life together. And by the 11th, I heard of this thing that was a promo. So I wish I would have started 2 days earlier, but I started on the 11th. And when I tell you that the PVC thing is the way, it is like, this is the way. If you guys watch The Mandalorian, this is the way. This is the way. You want to know why? It's not, this is another movie reference, but I've said this to a few people. You guys ever see the movie Ratatouille? I love that movie. It's a kid's movie. And Gusteau is the chef. And like this little rat goes in the kitchen and he has like an incredible palate and an incredible nose and he can cook. And Gusteau's motto is, anyone can cook. And when you have a system like we have, it doesn't matter if you have 95,000 followers or 5 followers, anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. And so the last thing that I want to leave you with tonight is for you to look at my social media and be like, well, of course she's going to make 32 enrollments in a week. She's got a huge net. I built that thing follower by follower by follower by doing exactly what I taught you to do tonight. Month over month, pouring over the data, figuring out what is engagement and what isn't working, trimming the fat off what's not working and doubling down on what does. And really asking my community what they want to see more of. Use those question bubbles in your stories. Again, social media is a two-way conversation. If they don't feel involved, then you're just word vomiting on them. Right? They need to feel connected to you. Ask questions. A great way to drive up your engagement, maybe your call to act, maybe you're talking about knitting and you're like, I don't have anything to link, right? What's my call to action if I'm talking about knitting or gardening or how to improve your golf swing? You ask them a question. You ask a question in the caption, you ask a question, and then you're going to get loads of comments. When they feel like, hey, I'm listening to you, you're listening to me talk, I want to listen to what you think. What do you think about this? Right? So ask a question in your caption and you'll get an answer. And then based on those answers, that might guide you to another post that you could make that's really going to connect with your people. Right? So I think that the biggest takeaway for me, and this is great news for all of us, with the week that I had with the 32 enrollments was people love free. People love free. If there's a coupon, they want it. And guess what else is a way of showing them free? 1, 2, 3 is free equals free. 1, 2, 3 equals free. So if you're not talking 1, 2, 3 language to them, then you're not showing them free, and people love free. Okay? So that to me was like a huge aha. Like people love a promo. They love a promo. Okay? Now with 1, 2, 3, that is as a reality for us. So what did my week look like? When I finally got woke to the promo that was happening, my God, Katie, get it together. Get your life together. For goodness sake, get your life together. Anyway, the collagen does taste better when it's free. It does. So I basically used the tools that were available to me. There were some story clips that were floating around, and I just used those. I used them and I talked about it. And you know, you don't have to be Dr. Plant when you go on your stories to talk about this stuff. You don't have to give them all every factoid. I literally one day was like, yep, if you drink this stuff, you're going to just be like a vampire and start aging reverse. There's all kinds of technical stuff in here that I don't know everything. You know, you don't have to be this like expert chemist to be able to translate. They don't care. They're like, will it kill me? No. Will it make me age in reverse and I'm going to be a day walker the rest of my life? Great. Do you take American Express? Yes, we do. Right? That's simple. Don't overcomplicate it. So, and obviously, like when we talk about this on our stories and it's all in the energy and how you deliver it. Okay. So I know, guys, believe me, I know showing your face on social media is like, I mean, like I said, I wanted to crawl under my desk. I'm like, people are going to think I'm so vain. They're going to think I'm this. They're going to think I'm that. I was crippled. I was paralyzed. And I just got over it with repetition. And the issue that you have to say to yourself is this: there is someone that is on the other side of that screen that is dying to hear what I have to say. She's dying for this. And so when you can distill it down to this one person, like create yourself a profile of who your ideal client is, not just any customer, your ideal customer. I know exactly who mine is. Her name's Blake. She's 37. She drives a Range Rover. Her husband's a professional athlete. She volunteers a lot. She shops at Anthropologie and All Saints. She is a super clean eater. She's wildly influential. This is a made up person, but I talk to Blake whenever I go on my social media, because I'm drawing her to me. She has pixie haircut. So, Denise Wiggins, let's see you right there with the pixie haircut. Okay. As you can see, I take myself super serious. So, media whatsoever. You have no from zero, and you're like, should I do Facebook? Should I do Instagram? Should I do LinkedIn? Should I do got nothing? Here's my advice. Do TikTok. TikTok has like 3 billion users. And Instagram has like 50 million or whatever it is. It's a lot less. Okay. We also have a product that is sold and available globally. So when you are trying to reach a huge amount of people, TikTok's where it's at. There are like grandparents doing dances on TikTok that have like 300 million followers. It's incredible. And the less serious you are over there, the better. So you don't have to overthink a lot of stuff. You can just slap it up there and get on with your life. I'm actually trying to get a little bit better at TikTok because we have a product that's sold globally. So that's what I would choose if I had nothing. And I have built my business on Instagram. So just take that little nugget for what it's worth. Okay. Okay. I want to leave. The last thing I'll say is really simple for them, right? If you can make it simple for people, I created a cart link that had the 6-pack and then a box of, and I put that Okay, so I didn't want to get a lot of DMs. Oh gosh, am I gone again? Oh God, I'm gonna. My children better have their teeth brushed and in their beds and be so good when I get off this call, or they're gonna get it. So I just would say when it comes time to do a promo, like absolutely everybody in the whole wide world, you don't have to have a minimum number of followers to be able to put a link in your stories. And so I did not, at the beginning of the promo, I did not put a cart link in my stories. I just said, DM the word collagen. Like I had a call to action, but it was like, just DM the word collagen and I'll get you the information. That's a lot of work on my end when I could just put the cart link right there, you know? And so after about a day, I started getting messages from people and my DMs were giving me clues on how to work smarter because people were like, well, I'm in there and I've got the six pack in there and I don't see how to, they thought, my customers thought that the company would just add a box of 10 when they added a box of 6. You get what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this isn't working. So I created the cart that had the box of 6 and a single box, and I saved that cart link, and that's what I put out on there. I literally sold every single one of them through my stories. I don't think, if you actually go to my page, I don't think I actually did a single post about the collagen. It was all stories. So they convert, and anybody can put a link in their story. Okay, who has a question? I'm done. Anybody?
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi.
This is Alicia from Maryland. I am on Brandy Brokaw's team.
Sweet.
I was just gonna ask you in regards to, you've been in the social media Instagram world for a while, and do you feel like using like an automated system versus doing it manually when posting your information is which one is better? Or what are your thoughts on that? Thank you.
Tell me more about automation. Are you just meaning like an automatic responder in your DMs, something like that?
Well, like using like Hootsuite to kind of program your content
like
out for the month. Right, right.
Yeah, you can use I used to use Planoly quite a bit. That was like, it's like a thing that you can like dump all your content into and it'll help you pre-plan and you can schedule things to post automatically. Like if you are, I'm not an overachiever like that. I kind of really like to stay connected to the content that I'm making that day. I used to do that. And I really liked being able to kind of visually see how my feed was going to look ahead of time. But I would never really use like the manual. Because I think a creative person that I feel like I need to be close to the content that day so that when you're posting it, really, really good fact that will help drive your engagement is you want to be, if you're going to put a post up for like 15 minutes after, because if people start commenting on it, you want to comment back as quickly as possible. You don't want hours and hours and hours to go by without you responding to those comments. So if you're scheduling posts to fire out while you're at work and you don't have a chance to double back and look at those comments until hours later, that is not going to help you. Okay. So it's better for you to do it on your lunch break, right? And then you can spend that first 15 minutes or so jumping in and engaging with your community. It will help drive the engagement even more. It will show more people that piece of content.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Anyone else? It takes time, guys. You know, it's like losing weight or anything else, learning guitar. It takes time. You know, you gotta, and you have to love it. You have to love the creative process. And I think what feeds me is the engagement, right? when you know you're hitting people and they're with you and they come back again and again, like I know who my regulars are. I know who my top fans are, right? They come back every single day with something positive to say to me. It literally gasses me up for tomorrow. Is there a question in the chat? Hold on. How Isagenix differs from my experience in the industry? Well, first of all, like I said, I feel like I literally got adopted into royalty. So you guys should all feel very, very, very lucky that you have this lineage of upline at your disposal. Like this is so rare, okay? Because not only are they wildly intelligent, amazing business people, but they also have enormous hearts. And that is just so hard to come by. So that is huge. Also the fact that I feel like our connection to the top is huge too. Like, I mean, we have Kathy Coover on the bat phone, right? We can pick up the bat phone and be like, hey, we got a tip from the field, and they listen. And that is also very rare. So the fact that the company has adopted PVC 123 from this team is proof positive that there is a huge connection between, the head of state and the field, which is so rare. And I also think this is something that blew me away when I first kind of came in, was all the money and resource that they're spending on clinical trials so that we have not just great products, but literal backbone to be able to make claims. That's so rare for a wellness company to have. And so we should be thanking our lucky stars that they're going the extra mile and doing that for us. It's huge. It's very exciting. Do you guys feel the excitement? It's so exciting. I hope you guys are all so happy to be here. Obviously, you wouldn't be spending your Monday night on a call like this if you weren't like super jazzed about it, right? Yes, Jessica's incredible.
Katie, you just dropped such genius on people, and my phone is blowing up. The message chat is blowing up.
Aww.
People are already commenting on Facebook on the invitation. Just what a great call it was, how much content you delivered. You really
so
add
happy.
value.
I'm
You add
so
value.
happy.
And I love what you said to people that, listen, no matter where you are in your journey, you just start. You do a little bit every day. If you just move by 1% every single day, how awesome is that?
Yes. Well, please listen, you guys. If you are going to go and click that follow button and let me know that you were on this call and you want to send me a DM, I'd love to hear from you. If you have more questions, something pops up and you want to ask me, I'm better on Instagram than I am on Facebook. I know my faults. If you call my phone and leave me a voicemail, my voicemail says I don't check my voicemail. So it's kind of like that same relationship, unfortunately, that I have with Facebook. It's just not and that's another thing. You guys got to give yourself some slack. Don't feel like you have to be a master of every single platform out there, that you have to crush it on LinkedIn and this and that and Pinterest. Like, pick the one that makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. And stay in that lane and just crush it. Okay. So yes. So Instagram is my place of business and my place where I find joy. And so please DM me there if you have a question after this call ends. I'm happy to help you guys.
We are so lucky to have a queen like you. Truly guiding, so generous with your information. I got so much value. I planned the content for the next 30 days. I feel great about it. And I hope everybody else does too. And truly, this is just a place for just learning and collaboration. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me, guys. Huge honor.
Absolutely. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.